General Fang, are those containers filled with? Heh, that's right. Fang Jueyu picked up the walkie-talkie again. Huaxia's first mobile soldier division, prepare for inspection. As soon as the words were spoken, the 100 containers on the aircraft carrier's deck opened immediately, and 100 brand-new mobile suits reflected dazzling light in the sun. Huaxia's first mobile soldier division, prepare to launch, Dairong commanded, and this mobile soldier unit soared into the sky with perfect order. Although they couldn't achieve Gogh Junyu's level of free and flexible flight, within 20 days, along with their innate driving talent, they completed the task Fang Jueyu had assigned them. 100 mobile soldiers approached the base at a speed of several hundred kilometers per hour, then landed neatly in front of the parade stand. The height of the building was only 20 meters, which aligned their line of sight almost at the level of the mobile soldiers' heads. Looking over, they were densely packed, instilling a deep sense of awe. Generals, please allow me to introduce. This is our Huaxia's mass-produced mobile suit UC-001. Its height is 18.5 meters, weight 40 tons, with a maximum ground running speed of 165 km/h and a maximum flight speed of Mach 10. The lunar alloy used in it is also my latest research work, capable of withstanding thousands of degrees of heat and easily resisting missile impacts. 100 units. Although Fang Jueyu mentioned that this UC-001 is merely a mass-produced model, with performance much lower than the previously showcased Agile Mobile Soldier, even with lower performance comparatively, any of these units would easily surpass the Yaoi-1 by 10 streets. The development cost of the Yaoi-1 was tremendous, with the cost to manufacture one over $1 billion, and even the Federation had only produced 5 so far. However, this new type of mobile soldier quietly manufactured 100 units. They had every reason to believe that, with a battalion composed of 100 mobile soldiers, Huaxia's power could now dominate globally. With such a battalion, Huaxia was poised to stand atop the world. Amazing, truly amazing. The chief, who had been kept in the dark by Fang Jueyu, finally saw this secret weaponry. No wonder Fang Jueyu seemed so confident from the beginning. The Federation intended to use this military exercise to intimidate the world with the Yaoi-1, avenging the Antarctic relics incident, but ended up shooting themselves in the foot, practically stepping up to be hit. Is there anything more ridiculous in the world? I think I have discovered his true identity. The chief suddenly revealed a mysterious smile. I used to have suspicions, now I can fully confirm it. He is the heir of that family's current generation. Those around him were completely clueless about what kind of riddle the chief was speaking. At this moment, live stream bullet comments globally had been entirely overrun by Huaxia people. For Fang Jueyu to tinker out one mobile soldier was already incredible, but to assemble an entire division. Wow, I suddenly have an urge to enlist, so thrilling, so overwhelming. Why do I feel like sand got in my eyes? I told you, wherever the Dean appears, there are bound to be eye-blinding stunts. Forget planes, tanks, aircraft carriers, check out these Gundams. I've been away from Huaxia for many years, always thought Huaxia's development had improved yet still lagged behind developed countries, but now I see I've underestimated my country. I'm getting a visa to return for work tomorrow. Little did Fang Jueyu know, this awe-inspiring exercise of his unexpectedly ignited a wave of patriotism among overseas Chinese, prompting a longing to return home. As for foreign netizens who had been mocking Fang Jueyu earlier, they had all fallen silent completely. To start a fight, one must have the confidence. Sure, Fang Jueyu's words were a bit arrogant, but only those without skill are called show-offs. He, being truly capable, is genuinely impressive. Even if they felt unhappy and wanted to continue criticizing, they had to reevaluate. Huaxia netizens were millions strong, each with a sharp tongue, especially those from the world of online gaming. Feel free to battle them. On this day, those foreign trolls for the first time learned what Huaxia's online fury meant. Apologies if I've amused everyone. The UC-001 was originally built just for coal mining, but the EXA-07's cost was too high to be easily popularized, so we directly adapted the UC-001 for military use instead. Mining? Several generals twitched at the corners of their mouths, astounded. Was he serious saying this weapon of mass destruction was originally meant just for coal mining? Mind must be out of sorts. There he goes again, the Dean. Dean, please say something reasonable. Continuing like this, you'll crush other countries' confidence entirely. What a shameless rogue, brilliant indeed. Yes. General Fang, is your country's mobile soldier technology available for sale? Several generals had just received orders from higher-ups, recognizing this as the future trend of military equipment development, essential to clinch this era's trend swiftly, or face elimination in international competition. Of course it's available for sale, Fang Jueyu responded with a smile. Those generals initially asked casually, knowing well if other countries asked to purchase their latest technological equipment details, would they sell? Absolutely not. This core knowledge, dictating a country's international standing, must remain firmly under their control. However, we're not selling finished products, only the technology. Nonsense! How can this technology be sold for a bit of profit? Several elderly experts witnessed this, immediately infuriated, slamming the table. There's no need to worry. The chief still wore that very smile. I understand this brat's temper very well. Anyone doing business with him, unless they're insiders, will always come out short. Without a doubt, the chief knew Fang Jueyu extremely well, as if he would hand over the materials so easily. The technology involved in these mobile soldiers was too broad, even with all theories and designs. Technology leading the current world by decades, if not a century. Is it really so easy to fully digest? Even if Fang Jueyu gave them the core technology, they would need to tackle hundreds of major technical breakthroughs to build one UC-001, which even with detailed data, takes a long time to grasp, possibly a dozen or 20 years before struggling to piece anything together. By then, Huaxia's mobile soldiers would likely have become widespread, and Fang Jueyu likely would have standard-issued even a more advanced model, making those countries merely play with Huaxia's discarded scrap. Those countries would have allocated massive funds to purchase this technology, only to find decades later it was obsolete by Huaxia, nowhere left to shed tears. Watching those generals' spirited looks, Fang Jueyu couldn't help but laugh internally. A bunch of clowns, who else to fool if not you? Chapter 401-401, Identity Exposed. The military exercise lasted almost an entire day, and what was intended as a global exercise almost turned into Huaxia's stage. People from all around the world remembered Huaxia's might, at least in the military aspect. With this mobile soldier unit, Huaxia was virtually invincible. As the overall in charge of this military exercise and the developer of this batch of mobile soldiers, Fang Jueyu's reputation skyrocketed once again. Initially, he was mostly known among young people, but it should be noted that there is a significant group of military enthusiasts among middle-aged people, and this exercise brought Fang Jueyu considerable fame among them as well. Fang Jueyu's Weibo title quickly added Huaxia Major General and Huaxia Weapons Expert. The EXA-07 mecha was directly left to Gogh Junyu by Fang Jueyu as a reward for his month-long training of these warriors. As for the 100 UC-001, Fang Jueyu generously donated them to the military, and the pilots trained by Gogh Junyu became the first batch of drivers for these mobile soldiers. Of course, they had a lot more to learn. Fang Jueyu gave Gogh Junyu a military rank in his own name, stipulating that if he could spare one day a week to guide them, in 1 or 2 years, these pilots would be flexible enough in their driving with the maximum maturity of their bodies. By then, these 100 people would be conducting large-scale teaching. Combined with the assistance of the virtual system, Huaxia would quickly have a batch of qualified mobile soldier pilots. As for the design data of UC-001, Fang Jueyu sold it to several countries for hundreds of billions of US dollars. Although this price seemed extraordinarily high, perhaps in the eyes of those countries, Huaxia's research and development funds exceeded this, so this price was not unacceptable. Only when they began deciphering it did they realize that the disciplines involved were too numerous. Even with detailed blueprints, their theoretical foundation was imperfect, and the craftsmanship was subpar, making it impossible to manufacture within 20 years. At that point, they would essentially be bearing a silent loss. It was only then that they realized that the development of technology is a gradual process and cannot be achieved overnight. Not everyone, like Fang Jueyu, had immense wealth to purchase these finished products directly from extraterrestrial civilizations and skip this complex process. Cunning Huaxia people. Upon hearing the news, Oraf cursed the entire Fang family in his mind 10 times over. It doesn't matter, General Oraf, their lead is merely in military technology. No matter how powerful, it's just external force. At that moment, a voice appeared beside Oraf. This voice, Oraf's body trembled. Blair, where did you come from? Yes, just got back. It seems your military also suffered quite a loss at the hands of this young Huaxia man. HMPH, didn't your superpower department fare no better that time? Wasn't the original purpose this time just to strike at the Huaxia people and regain some dignity for your past humiliation? Blair wasn't overly angry, as what Orloff said was indeed true, but the present was different from the past. Actually, there's no need to be too disheartened. The Huaxia people probably found a relatively complete ancient relic within their territory, coincidentally discovering this batch of mobile soldiers. Otherwise, you would think even if they had obtained the technology, could they manufacture such a powerful unit in a short time? What are you trying to say? Orloff asked impatiently. I just wanted to tell you, recently our superpower department found a very secretive ancient relic, not yet discovered by any other countries. We can completely monopolize it. We've already explored it and there's no danger. Oh, Orloff showed some interest. Are there advanced military equipment? There isn't any, Blair said, but we found some very interesting things. In less than 3 months, our Federation could have at least 3 superpower users above 8 stages, and I am confident I will break through to divine-level superpower user. Divine-level superpower user. Orloff's eyes widened, as divine-level superpower user was a realm beyond the 9th stage for superpower users and only existed theoretically. Indeed, according to my information, the United States has already developed a Sage crystal activator, and in what we've found, there seem to be a series of complete systems used by prehistoric civilizations to cultivate powerful individuals. Blair had broken through from the 8th stage to the 9th stage in less than a month under that system's training, which was his source of confidence. So Orloff, there's no need to worry too much. Your opponent is not an ordinary person. Give me a few more months and I will go meet Huaxia's superpower users and ancient martial artists in the name of a visiting group, and by then, I will settle both scores. But Fang Jueyu was unaware that the Federation had developed new ideas towards Huaxia. After the military exercise concluded, he did not go directly home, but returned to Huaxia's #1 military district, where the chief and others had prepared to celebrate his return. Welcome General Fang, triumphant return. Clap, clap, clap. As he entered the command room, Fang Jueyu was greeted by thunderous applause from the chief, some veteran generals with meritorious service, weapons experts, R&D personnel, hundreds of people watching the military exercise together. From initial nervousness and unease, to later relief, and finally to pride and exhilaration, they experienced a roller coaster of emotions. If they had known earlier that Fang Jueyu had developed such new equipment, they wouldn't have been this tense. General Fang, this time you've won great honor for Huaxia. General Fang, did you really develop that equipment resembling Gundam? General Fang, is that thing easy to drive? We want to try it too. All right, everyone, little Fang has been busy all day. Let him rest for a while. The chief interrupted these young officers who turned into fans. Little Fang, come to our office for a moment. Okay? Fang Jueyu nodded. It seemed like the chief had something to discuss with him. It wasn't surprising, given that what he demonstrated was somewhat beyond the norm. Perhaps the chief had learned a few things. Sit, young Fang. The chief personally brewed a cup of tea for him. Chief, you're making me feel embarrassed. Such treatment wasn't something everyone could have. Why, I'm just an ordinary person. You are now a great contributor to the country. Chief, you wanted to talk to me, didn't you? Yes, young Fang, I've long suspected, but only now can I be sure. The chief looked at Fang Jueyu meaningfully. You're from the Fang family, aren't you? Ha, chief, my surname is Fang, so I must be from the Fang family, right? Fang Jueyu laughed it off. I'm talking about the Fang family that predates even Huaxia civilization, with a legacy spanning thousands of years. Fang Jueyu showed a look of shock. Had Zhao Yi said that every generation of the Fang family removes their memories and traces about the family upon leaving Earth? How could the chief know about their family's existence? Chapter 402-402, I also want to keep a low profile. Strange, isn't it? Seeing Fang Jueyu's expression, the chief couldn't help but laugh. Don't underestimate the power of a nation. Your family's presence is interwoven throughout thousands of years of Huaxia's development history. Some things fade from memory, but there are many ways they can be recorded. The chief pulled a very old book from the shelf. Inside was a large piece of animal skin, inscribed with some words in an obscure language, and most prominently, a totem symbol representing the Fang family. This should be your family's emblem, right? It seems you know about it, Chief. Fang Jueyu wasn't overly tense. Even if the chief knew his true identity, he wouldn't pose any threat to him. I know a little. This totem existed long before the earliest dynasties of Huaxia. A family that has been around for thousands of years wouldn't be ordinary, even if they started as one, right? My family does have some uniqueness. Fang Jueyu rubbed his nose. And it's not just a bit unique, is it? The chief smiled. We found this totem in the temples of many Huaxia dynasties, and even in the remnants of ancient Egyptian civilization and ancient Babylon. Chief, you know everything, Fang Jueyu said, but you didn't call me here just to expose my identity, right? Ha ha ha, of course not. Truthfully, I'm more curious. What exactly made your family what it is? The chief opened a notebook filled with notes. The earliest activities of the Fang family date back to the time of the Yellow Emperor's battle against Caillou. At that time, the Yellow Emperor's power was vastly unequaled by Caillou, but in the end, the Yellow Emperor defeated Caillou. It had a lot to do with a warrior whose tribe's totem was your family's emblem. The chief sat down. Consider it telling me a story. I'm very interested in these matters. Oh, the warrior you mentioned was an ancestor from more than 90 generations ago. Fang Jueyu, who found it amusing to hear about his ancestors from Zhao Yi when bored, said, our family learned the secret of unlocking human potential a long time ago. Imagine what a powerful superpower user could achieve in the conflicts of that era. That would change everything, the chief said. Even in modern warfare, superpower users played an invaluable role. But why did your ancestor choose to help the Yellow Emperor? According to our historical data, your ancestor's tribe didn't belong to any faction. Blame it on Caillou himself, Fang Jueyu shrugged. You know about Shenong, right? Of course, Shenong is the leader of the ancient Huaxia tribal alliance, but that's just a legend. Whether such a person existed is still debated. Shenong certainly existed, and the legend of Shenong tasting 100 herbs is true, Fang Jueyu said. Back then, Shenong was the leader of a tribe right before the Xia dynasty. The knowledge about farming, animal husbandry, herbs, my ancestor taught him all that. The chief was somewhat baffled. That statement carried heavy implications. It implied that Huaxia's agricultural civilization began with Fang Jueyu's ancestor. At that time, the Fang family's ancestors had just received guidance from Zhao Yi not long ago. Their knowledge and understanding were still in an embryonic stage, but Huaxia's civilization was also taking root. What's the connection to the war between the Yellow Emperor and Caillou's tribe? Well, Fang Jueyu blushed slightly. As far as I know, my ancestor was developing farmland and teaching Shenong some basic farming knowledge. Caillou and his tribe passed by and stole some grain from the experimental fields because of a food shortage, so. Just because of that, the chief's jaw nearly dropped. Fang Jueyu's ancestor helped the Yellow Emperor defeat Caillou's tribe just because they stole grain from an experimental field, setting the foundation for Huaxia civilization. The reason seemed absurd and capricious. Now the chief understood why Fang Jueyu had his current personality. It was a trait passed down through generations. Fang Jueyu's way of dealing with things was the same. If something displeased him, he'd find a way to make others suffer, and quite ruthlessly too. Chief, to put it simply, families with this emblem are either our followers or have accepted our family's favor in the past. Those families across various continents. The chief referred to families like the Ladinic family, which were an enigma to ordinary people, but were no secret to political leaders like him. Those families submitted to us long ago. Everything they have was granted by my ancestors, and their mission is to serve the Fang family. Cough, cough, cough. Even though he was prepared mentally, the chief was still quite shocked. As a national leader, he knew very well what those families represented. Their combined power could upend the world. Your family background is hard for me to digest. The chief shook his head with a bitter smile. Perhaps he was the only one outside the Fang family who knew this secret. Your parents. The chief had secretly investigated Fang Jueyu's background, but found no traces of relatives or family, as if Fang Jueyu was the only one in the world. Chief, you might not believe this, Fang Jueyu said awkwardly. I said they left Earth and headed for the universe. Would you believe it? Chief, forget it, your strange family already surpasses my scope of understanding. Even if more bizarre, I won't bother as long as you keep things in check and don't stir up chaos. The chief advised earnestly, try to be a bit more low-key in your actions. Your stories are just too astonishing. Without some knowledge of your family, I'd think you were an alien. Fang Jueyu laughed bitterly. Chief, I want to keep a low profile, but my strength doesn't allow it. But on this day, Fang Jueyu talked with the chief in his office for several hours. Aside from the information about Yi, the chief was almost fully informed about the Fang family. Originally, he thought he had imagined the family to be powerful and mysterious enough, but he found that his imagination was still somewhat lacking. It could almost be said that if the family wanted to become the rulers of Earth, they could have done so thousands of years ago. In many dynasties of Huaxia, the Fang family was revered as deities. Yet the family had little interest in power. It seemed their only hobby was to do whatever they wanted, following their impulses. The chief's mind was clear, knowing that the power this young man possessed was enough to overturn the whole world. If he wanted, he could at any time become the master of this world. His family stood at the pinnacle in terms of technological and economic power. "Chief, you don't need to worry about me doing anything harmful to society," Fang Jueyu reassured the chief, knowing he had some concerns as Fang was an absolute volatile element, beyond the control of any organization or force in the world. The only thing that could restrain Fang Jueyu's actions was his own moral standards and bottom line. Thus, Fang Jueyu made such a promise. In fact, every generation of the Fang family had been like this, never doing anything harmful to society, always quietly contributing to it. After all, the earth was their home, and Huaxia was the land they loved the most. Several months passed, and the fervor surrounding that military exercise finally subsided. Everything seemed to return to its former peace and quiet. During this time, no trouble came to stir things up, and Fang Jueyu continued with his life and studies as before. The academician workstation established near Jiangnan University had been fully completed. Most of the buildings and equipment were in place, but some very special instruments were still being prepared. Telescopes, particle colliders, and other large instruments were not things that could be completed overnight. To save time, Fang Jueyu simply purchased a batch from the spacetime store. Unlike the costs of war, this kind of scientific equipment was relatively cheap in extraterrestrial civilizations. Even a telescope capable of observing the furthest known universe only cost tens of billions of cosmic coins. The telescope they required only needed high precision, not high-distance requirements, so Fang Jueyu solved everything for just tens of thousands of cosmic coins. He even thought he wasted a month's worth of accumulated energy to buy so little. Professor Liu Guang was utterly shocked upon seeing these things. To his knowledge, such advanced telescopes and particle colliders had yet to be manufactured in the world. It had only been a few months since Fang Jueyu hired him, and yet he had already procured such important instruments. Just how profound were Fang Jueyu's capabilities? Academician Fang, with these instruments, I am confident of calculating the exact location and timing of that wormhole within 2 years. But I still need some manpower, as the student team I brought might be too thin, Liu Guang told Fang Jueyu. After all, expertise brought specialization. Liu Guang's research focus was astrophysics. However, this project involved quantum mechanics, mathematics, and various other fields, so more hands were required. "All right, leave that to me. I'll help you find people." Fang Jueyu was not only an honorary professor at Jiangnan University, but also an academician of Huaxia. Just last month, the graduate exams had concluded, and he could completely leverage this identity to recruit en masse. He had a grander purpose behind this undertaking. He needed more people. Currently, Fang Jueyu's strength had reached the mid-level of a hidden elementer. Within a few months, he would break through to a high-level hidden elementer, and within a year, he could challenge the source energy user level. But he only possessed the first chapter of the potential guiding technique for now. To unlock the second chapter, he would need to complete that damn mission, finding 100,000 followers. His Super God Academy had been in existence for almost a year, yet the students combined didn't even total 1,000. If things continued like this, who knew how long it would take to gather 100,000 people? Thus, expanding the enrollment of the Super God Academy had become an urgent matter. He had to find 100,000 followers within a year. Otherwise, his cultivation path might come to a halt. As for these followers, he had already thought of it. They could be selected from among the young generation of ancient martial families and superpower users. First, their acceptance capacity was high, and second, they were highly moldable. Even if they abandoned their previous cultivation paths, they could start anew on the cosmic cultivation system's road. As for those over the age of 25, They had missed the best timing and could only continue down the road of superpower users and ancient martialists until the end. The first issue to tackle was Professor Liu Guang's team. Fang Jueyu immediately went on Weibo and posted a recruitment announcement. Fang Jueyu Academician Workstation Recruitment. This academic workstation has recently been completed, and due to a shortage of manpower, we are now hiring a large number of staff from society. Security. Requirement: take on 10 at once. Salary: annual salary of over 1 million, with specifics depending on strength. Cleaning staff. Requirement: must be able to clean the toilet so it's suitable for washing your face. Floors should be polished to ice skating condition. Glass should shine so intensely it could cause accidents. Salary: annual salary of over 1 million. Researcher. Requirement: master's degree or above in quantum mechanics, mathematics, spatial science, astronomy, and related fields. Salary: annual salary of over 2 million, 7 insurances, 2 funds, year-end bonuses, including millions in cash, international travel, 1 million Lamborghini discount vouchers, 90% off housing coupons nationwide, Diddy helicopter coupons and Diddy sports car coupons, etc. Experiment group leader. Requirement: PhD or above in quantum mechanics, mathematics, spatial science, astronomy, and related fields. Nobel Prize and equivalents are preferred. Salary negotiable. Holy shit, the Academy Director's workstation is hiring. Everyone go apply. I swear to God, take a look at this. Is this even something a human would say? Prioritizing Nobel Prize winners. Have you ever seen any company or school this audacious? I'm a Kingbei University graduate, and I feel I'm only qualified to apply for a cleaning job. My God, is this the most legendary recruitment ad in history? The minimum starting annual salary is 1 million. I won't say more. I'm off to practice scrubbing toilets. What kind of divine, year-end bonus is this? Landing just one could be worth decades of working for someone else. Seriously, only the director could hire people like this. Kneeling to the great one, director, I've been your fan for 2 years. Can you open a backdoor for me? Chapter 404-404, Unifying All the Dogs in the Nation. A few minutes after this recruitment notice was published, it spread nationwide like wildfire. People with some expertise in these subject areas couldn't wait to jump at the chance. Fang Jueyu was a prestigious scholar after all. His last 20 articles included several that were shortlisted for this year's Nobel Prize, and experts predicted that he would win at least 2 awards. Studying at an academician workstation led by someone of his caliber meant gaining an immeasurable amount of knowledge. Just absorbing a fraction of Fang Jueyu's skills could sustain a person for a lifetime. Moreover, who had ever seen such incredible benefits? Based on the current average salary for recent graduates in all of Huaxia, bachelor's degree holders earned annually between 60,000 to 80,000, master's degree holders between 80,000 to 100,000, and PhD holders from 150,000 to 200,000. Last year, a hot topic on Weibo was about a Huaxia mobile phone company that hired a batch of recent PhD graduates with salaries as high as nearly 2 million, already considered a sky-high contract. But Fang Jueyu was even more impressive, offering annual salaries of over 1 million just for security and cleaning staff, and these were just base salaries. Researchers with a master's degree started at 3 million, and those with a doctorate earned at least 5 million. Who could refuse such treatment? Looking across all of Huaxia's higher institutions, professors, unless they consistently took on corporate projects, only made several 100,000 annually. With Fang Jueyu offering such conditions, wasn't he practically forcing people to switch jobs? It wasn't just Huaxia. Even high-educated talents abroad were intrigued by this recruitment notice. Every year, many well-educated individuals stayed overseas due to better treatment offered there, plain and simple. But now, an institute in Huaxia offering such perks had emerged, and it even had official career status. Who would want to miss this opportunity? It wasn't just Chinese descendants. Even researchers with foreign nationality were drawn to Fang Jueyu's academician workstation. In just a few minutes, the notification sound of resumes arriving in Fang Jueyu's online mailbox hadn't stopped. Host, it's been only half an hour, and already over 12,000 resumes from around the world have come in. Damn, this is outrageous. Fang Jueyu was surprised and even started to question if he had been too generous with the benefits. I need to screen them thoroughly. Although Fang Jueyu needed quite a few people, 800 to 1,000 would suffice. He opened his mailbox and randomly clicked on a resume from England. Zikal Samara, Ph.D. from the Royal Institute of Technology in England, specialized in quantum physics, Nobel Prize winner in 2017, with publications such as I was just messing around, and a Nobel laureate actually applied. Fang Jueyu was at a loss for words with this resume. Host, this person has a strong academic background, but it seems they are gay. Damn, my bad. Next one. Fang Jueyu quickly deleted that resume. This one was a resume from Huaxia. Zhu Maoming, Ph.D. from Stanford University's Physics Department, with 28 SCI papers published, of which 21 were in Tier 1, including one first author paper in Nature. Host, this guy is quite good, just 28 years old this year, but he had some bad luck after returning home. His national fund applications have been rejected for years, and his treatment is far below his academic capabilities. We should hire him. Fine, send him an offer directly, with an annual salary of 20 million for now. And here's one applying for a cleaning position. Fang Jueyu opened the resume with interest. Zhu Digui, graduated from Langxiang University, was the labor commissioner in class from elementary school to high school, can operate an excavator to clean windows, with 16 years of experience in sweeping and cleaning windows, and 8 years in toilet cleaning. Wow, a talent indeed. Send him an offer with an annual salary of 1.2 million, start tomorrow. Oh, and there's one applying for a security position. Secular student at the Shaolin Temple, trained there for 15 years, mastered the 72 Shaolin techniques, including vigorous Vajra finger, flower-picking finger, and Yi Jin Jing. Host, this guy is a flamboyant monk. He did train at the Shaolin Temple, but nowadays being a monk is just an occupation. After work, he's free to do whatever, eat meat, get married. None of their monk talk is for real. There's such a thing, then forget it. Next one. The number of resumes kept increasing rapidly, from just over 10,000 earlier to over 20,000 while Fang Jueyu reviewed a few. Alright, Zhaoyi, go ahead and filter through these for me first. Dismiss those with poor character, work ethic, or no genuine skills. I'll have Professor Liu Guang further sift through the rest, since he knows exactly what kind of people we need. As for the security department, let's just set up a challenge at the academician workstation and let them compete with their skills. Sure thing, host, leave these small tasks to me. Fang Jueyu nodded, then began pondering the recruitment process for the Super God Academy. That issue was quite different from the job recruitment. These 100,000 participants couldn't all come from families of superpower users or ancient martial artists. A significant portion had to come from ordinary families. Even though he could easily get an educational license, openly recruiting students for such a school would be quite shocking, and he needed to find a suitable approach. Host, I have an idea, Zhaoyi suggested. Let's hear it. Isn't there a movie called Harry Potter? You can recruit students in the way it's done in that movie. Fang Jueyu's eyes lit up. That was indeed a good idea. In the fictional timeline of that work, mages and ordinary human worlds coexisted without interfering with each other. Students admitted to the Wizard Academy came not only from magical families, but also from ordinary families. They all received an all-delivered letter during their holidays. Maybe Fang Jueyu could adopt a similar method. I got it. Fang Jueyu jumped out of his window and walked over to Guzi's mansion, where Guzi was taking a nap, drooling all over the imported wool carpet in the doghouse. Bang, Fang Jueyu kicked its butt. Guzi, stop sleeping, got a task for you. Guzi, capable of subduing even a monster like Hydra, was unfazed by Fang Jueyu's kick. It lazily glanced at him, then closed its eyes again. Fang Jueyu waved a pill in front of its nose, and Guzi suddenly became alert, looking at him expectantly. Guzi, do me a favor. Aren't you the boss among dogs? I'll give you a few days, unite all the dogs in the country for me. Woof, Guzi tilted its head, puzzled about what exactly Fang Jueyu wanted to do. Soon, a few days passed, and Fang Jueyu handed the resume selected by Zhaoyi to Professor Liu Guang, who carefully picked out a few hundred researchers. Academician Fang, I divided the selected people into 2 groups. Some can assist me in completing this research, and the remaining are outstanding figures in other disciplines, which will greatly benefit the long-term development of your workstation. Liu Guang was well worth the salary Fang Jueyu paid, handling everything for the academician workstation with thorough perfection. Professor Liu, thank you for your hard work. I'll definitely give you a larger year-end bonus this year. Actually, Fang Jueyu felt a little guilty towards Liu Guang, as he hadn't visited the workstation many times, and Liu Guang managed a lot of affairs. Ha ha ha, Academician Fang, you're too kind. You supported my research wholeheartedly even when many doubted me. These small matters are my duty. Boom, boom. At this time, Fang Jueyu heard explosive sounds coming from the phone. Professor, what's going on? What's that noise? This isn't at the security selection interviews. Liu Guang's tone turned extremely serious. Mr. Fang, you should come see for yourself. This isn't just a security selection, this is practically a battle of the gods. Chapter 405-405. The security guard interview of the gods fighting. Anyway, there wasn't much going on in the past few days. Guzi's task wasn't going to be done anytime soon. Upon receiving the news from Liu Guang, Fang Jueyu immediately drove to the place where the academician workstation was located. Before even entering the gate, Fang Jueyu heard a series of explosive sounds one after another. The center of the academician workstation originally had a rather large square, but last time, Fang Jueyu had instructed that the selection of security should be decided through a fighting competition. So, Liu Guang simply set up a massive arena right there to determine the candidates for bodyguards through matches. Even the bodyguards could earn an annual salary of 1 million, who wouldn't be tempted by such a job. The next day, nearly all the ruffians from Jiangnan City came for the interview. For a moment, the workstation became a chaotic mess. If it weren't for bringing in the police, there might have been a lot of trouble. Liu Guang immediately posted a notice prohibiting vagrants and people from society from participating. To enter this arena stage, applicants had to submit resumes, go through interviews, and be confirmed as individuals of upright character and moral integrity. Just like that, a few days of interviews screened out a batch of people. Some were graduates from the police academy, some were veterans, some claimed to be disciples of temples, some had been mercenaries. Basically, anyone with some slight skills, as weird and wonderful as they may seem, participated. For the next several days, while the arena matches went on, the selection of suitable security personnel was also underway. The entire academician workstation had 4 main gates and dozens of buildings. Given this ratio, at least several dozen or even over 100 security personnel were needed for rotating shifts, so the number of recruits this time was quite large. The rules were simple. Anyone could go on stage and take on various challenges. As long as someone could win under the challenge of 5 people and still stand on the arena, they would pass. Of course, the premise was to know the limit, and to prevent accidents, several ambulances were parked nearby. The first couple of days went quite normally. The people coming to participate in the arena matches had learned some martial arts, and they fought back and forth, with several dozen people passing through. However, from the 3rd day onwards, some strange people started appearing one by one. Although they didn't display excessively exaggerated skills, they were definitely not ordinary. Who had ever seen a girl shorter than 5'3" lift a 200-pound man with one hand and toss him out of the arena? The arena was made of marble blocks. Had anyone seen someone punch a hole in marble with their fist? Clearly, these people were not ordinary. Even the onlooking staff at the academician workstation were beginning to suspect that Huaxia really had some martial arts sects. When Fang Jueyu arrived, a match was in progress. 2 young men in their 20s were competing. Their punches were fierce and powerful, their footwork agile and varied, definitely not ordinary people of the mundane world. Damn, I'm just trying to hire some security. Why the hell are people from the ancient martial families showing up? Fang Jueyu confirmed that these 2 were definitely from ancient martial families. These 2 young men at least had the strength of force transform. Geez, with these ancient martial families here, how can anyone else even compete? Fang Jueyu couldn't help but spit out colorful language. Damn it, don't your families give you pocket money or something? Are you really concerned about a mere monthly salary of over 1 million? The key problem was that the country had spent quite a bit of effort isolating these special groups so ordinary people wouldn't know. If they were exposed here, wouldn't Fang Jueyu have to take the fall? Bang! Thud! Crash! The marble-made arena was nearly cracked under the fierce battle of the 2 young men. Most of the people under this arena were ordinary folks. What are these people? Which police academy did they graduate from? This is insane. No wonder this is a position recruited by the director. Is it now even this hard to become a security guard? Senior Wang, I think we should forget it. I feel like if I got on stage, I'd get killed. Well, our Shaolin Temple's Arhat fist is already powerful, but at best, we could break a small tree. How do these people train on Earth? Let's go, let's go. This is like gods fighting. There's no way we can earn that $1 million salary. This match lasted over 10 minutes, finally ending with one young man losing by a narrow margin and being knocked off the arena. But after watching this match, many people had already given up the idea of going on stage. Even for a $1 million annual salary, you had to be alive to earn it. Is there anyone else who wants to challenge? If not, this spot is mine, the young man said, his face glowing. Fang Jueyu's guess was indeed correct. This young man came from an ancient martial family. Nowadays, the Ancient Martial Association was under the unified management of Yanhuang. There were no collection fees anymore, so these ancient martial families weren't as affluent as before. According to the regulations, the children of the families had to graduate from college and receive their diplomas before joining Yanhuang. Therefore, those still in college started to think of other ways to earn some money. But considering their identities, ordinary security guard wages weren't enough to even buy them clothes. Just in time, they saw Fang Jueyu's recruitment notice, and in groups, they came to the academician workstation to apply for the security positions, which led to the current scene. I'm in. Another young man jumped onto the arena. Oh, I'm shocked, isn't this person from the Yanhuang superpower group? Even they showed up. Fang Jueyu's divine sense swept over these people. There were dozens of people here, but among these mere dozens, there were 12 Force Transform experts, 7 Inner Strength experts, 1 Force Transform master, and 16 superpower users. Oh geez, is Yanhuang being stingy? These people actually came out to snatch jobs from ordinary folk. Fang Jueyu found it somewhat amusing. At this moment, 2 more familiar faces walked to the edge of the arena. I'm speechless. Fang Jueyu could bear it no longer, rushing to the arena's edge. How come you 2 are here too? Fang Jueyu was at a loss, as these 2 were 2 from the 30 people who had trained with him for a time, and the 2 had now become Tier 5 superpower users. Using superpower users as bodyguards, was there anything more extravagant in this world? Advisor, you're here. The 2, upon seeing Fang Jueyu, showed an expression of pleasant surprise. Advisor, we're here to apply as bodyguards. Can you give us a backdoor? I'll give you a banana boat. Fang Jueyu rapped the 2 on their heads. I mean, you superpower users and ancient martial artists can't stay put at Yanhuang, competing with ordinary people for security positions here. Can you have some aspirations? Advisor, we just thought of doing a part-time job to earn some money. Both superpower users covered their heads with grievances on their faces. You know, Yanhuang only gives us Tier 5 superpower users 200,000 a month, and now it's peacetime. Not many tasks to earn extra money. You're not satisfied with 200 grand a month. Fang Jueyu shouted. A regular family could live quite well on 200 grand a year. Advisor, you can't calculate it this way. Our monthly cultivation expenses alone consume most of the money, and the rest we have to live on and support our families. We're really short on cash. They were on the verge of tears. As a security guard here, we can earn at least $1 million a year, plus it's a stable job, and our wives forced us to come. Fang Jueyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. All right, if you all come to disrupt things, how am I supposed to recruit people? Fang Jueyu helplessly laughed. Send those kids back, and people from Yanhuang are barred from applying here. I'll talk to the leader and we'll get your salaries raised. I'll pay for it myself, all right. Haha, all right. Thank you, advisor. The 2 superpower users immediately beamed with joy. We'll take these brats away immediately and won't cause you any trouble. Get lost. With a wave of his hand, Fang Jueyu finally managed to chase away this bunch. After driving away the superpower users and ancient martial artists, the recruitment at the academician workstation finally returned to normal. The required talents reported for work one after another, and research activities continued in an orderly manner. Fang Jueyu was finally able to focus all his energy on the admissions process. Where has Gogh been these past 2 days? Fang Jueyu had just woken up one morning, and Gogh had already prepared breakfast for him. Besides elixirs, Gogh's favorite was anything made by Gogh. Though Gogh was lazy and wild, typically wandering all day and sleeping in its doghouse at home, it would always come running at the smell of her cooking. Gogh hadn't seen Gogh for almost a week, and she couldn't help but feel a little worried. Oh, I had it do something for me. It should be back in a couple of days, Fang Jueyu said, sipping his hot milk. Woof woof woof. At that moment, a clear bark came from outside the door. Guzhi was sprinting over, its short legs moving at lightning speed. It was a bit dirty but looked energetic. Woof woof woof. Guzhi looked at Guo Xinyu expectantly, wagging its tail. All right, already got it ready for you. Preparing food for Guzhi had become a habit for Guo Xinyu. Wait, tell me first how that task I gave you is going. Fang Jueyu snatched Guzhi's food bowl away. Woof. Guzhi nodded toward the TV, seeming to indicate that it wanted Fang Jueyu to watch the television. Fang Jueyu turned his gaze to the TV, where the news was on. Dog owners across the country have reported that domesticated and stray dogs have been acting extremely odd lately. They typically stay active in their living areas, active during the day and resting at night like humans. But for the past week, many domesticated dogs have gone missing at night, only returning the next day. Really strange. Do you think Guzhi also picked up this habit? Guo Xinyu looked at Guzhi in bewilderment. Normally, this was just the time when Guzhi would be waking up. Interestingly, someone accidentally captured this incredibly bizarre footage at night. The news content suddenly switched to a shaky video filled with static. Though the video was blurry, you could clearly see thousands of dogs seemingly organized and orderly migrating in a massive formation toward a certain direction, reminiscent of the migrations of wildlife in documentaries. Interestingly, these included both dogs with collars and tags and stray dogs, but their movements were extremely secretive and very quiet. Not a single bark heard, traveling along rarely trodden paths as if heading to some gathering. Unfortunately, the cameraman seemed exhausted at the end and did not uncover the ultimate secret. Similar phenomena have appeared in various cities, clearly indicating there's more to it. Let's hear what animal experts have to say. We believe this behavior could very well be a precursor to some kind of natural disaster. Great job, Guzhi. Fang Jueyu patted Guzhi's head and returned its bowl. Woof, Guzhi barked proudly and immediately started devouring its meal. Is all this Guzhi's doing? Guo Xinyu looked at Guzhi in disbelief. What has it been up to the past few days? I had it unify all the dogs in Huaxia. Now Guzhi is the king of all the dogs in the country. Guo Xinyu was full of questions. The combined number of domesticated and stray dogs in Huaxia must be over 200 million. This task wasn't any easier than unifying a dynasty. How did Guzhi achieve it in just 1 week? She knew Guzhi wasn't an ordinary dog, so it wasn't an unfathomable feat, but what exactly was Fang Jueyu's goal? Why did he need so many dogs? What are you planning to do? Take over the national pet dog industry? Guo Xinyu couldn't think of any reason. Haha, let me show you this. Fang Jueyu handed her an envelope. Guo Xinyu took the envelope, which was black and had a golden symbol printed on it, one she recognized as both the crest of the Super God Academy and the emblem of Fang Jueyu's family. Besides the Academy crest, there was a prominent inscription, Super God Academy. She opened the envelope to find a letter inside. Dear Student XXX, congratulations on being admitted as a first-year student at the Super God Academy. Please report to school with this admission letter on February 20, 2021. The location is Antian Peak in Jiangnan City. This admission does not affect your regular student status. Please do not disclose this matter to anyone, or your admission will be canceled and your memory of it erased. Here you can learn anything you want to learn. Remember anything. This is your chance to change your destiny, so take it seriously. Dean of the Super God Academy, Fang Jueyu. Are you planning a mass enrollment? Guo Xinyu was most surprised. Yes, my goal is to enroll 100,000 students within 2 years. I can't do it alone, so I've come up with another approach. Guo Xinyu was at a loss for words. Using dogs to deliver admission letters, was this even a human idea? But what are your admission criteria? You can't just accept anyone. Of course, but now it's the era of big data. With enough access, you can know everything without leaving your home. Fang Jueyu had conducted a data survey of everyone in Huaxia under 25 through Zioyi, filtering out a group suitable for admission into the Super God Academy. These candidates may vary in talent and ability, but their character was almost universally vetted. As for every admission letter, it wasn't made of earthly pen, ink, paper, and inkstone. Fang Jueyu bought it from the Spacetime store, resistant to ordinary methods of destruction. What's more mysterious is that only the first person to open the envelope can see its contents. Fang Jueyu had Potter, a teacher at the academy, cast a spell on them. Don't say it's not scientific. Theology magic are just extensions of science having reached a certain level. Fang Jueyu had purchased all land around Antian Peak and had spent tens of millions of cosmic currency to buy a giant concealment device from extraterrestrial civilizations. Henceforth, only people from the Super God Academy could enter. Essentially, unless the Super God Academy exposed itself, no one would discover its secret. This is practically the Eastern Hogwarts. Guo Xinyu was thoroughly impressed. Fang Jueyu's idea was indeed extraordinary, as if bringing a fictional world to life. I got the inspiration from there. Fang Jueyu had compiled all the student information and addresses. Potter had been working overtime charging them with magic. At the latest, these admission letters would be sent out in 3 days. On New Year's Eve, while all families gathered joyously, Antian Peak in Jiangnan City became particularly lively, with all sorts of dogs covering the mountainside. They waited quietly for the arrival of the king of the city. Urguzi, well done. Fang Jueyu and Urguzi walked out of the War Academy. With a casual wave of his hand, a mountain of letters appeared on the ground. Each of these letters contained a miniature navigator, enabling the dogs to establish an incredibly dense network across Huaxia and deliver these letters to every admitted student's hand under satellite navigation guidance. This is a huge project. I hope it doesn't cause any social upheaval. Fang Jueyu squatted and patted Urguzi's back. Urguzi, give the order to let them deliver these letters to the corresponding individuals. Woof! Urguzi nodded and began issuing commands among the pack of dogs. Although Urguzi wasn't a purebred dog, it was a cosmic-level super beast. Even creatures like the Orachi would shiver in its presence, and just a hint of its aura was enough to terrify ordinary dogs. Over the past week, Urguzi had traversed through the streets and alleys of Huaxia, conquering all the dogs. Now it issued commands with the poise of a king. The dogs received Urguzi's command and immediately picked up the letters, scattering in all directions under the guidance of the positioning system. Depending on dogs is not ideal. Next month I'll visit the Spacetime store to check out something fun. Fang Jueyu gave Urguzi a pat on the rear. Urguzi, let's head back. Xinyu and the others are waiting for us for New Year's Eve dinner. That night everyone was immersed in the joy and warmth of the new year, oblivious to the quiet activity of the dogs. Yu Hao was an ordinary university student, neither at a 985, a 211, nor a double first-class university. He was set to graduate as a master's student next year. Although he had already secured a job with decent pay, he felt uncertain about the future. Yu Hao's parents divorced when he was young. His father earned a good income but was rarely home. Despite having many relatives, the impact of his family situation made Yu Hao a person who preferred solitude and feared crowds. Even on New Year's Eve, he chose to be alone at home, where only he occupied the empty house. At night, people often did unconventional things. He habitually checked his phone, noticing no one had reached out to him, an occurrence he was used to. He put on headphones and leaned on the balcony, overlooking the bustling city. However, upon opening the curtains, he was stunned. Countless green spots of light moved outside his building, resembling ghostly flames that sent chills down his spine. Yet, nearly 20 years of education assured him that ghosts were non-existent. He opened the window to have a closer look and realized it was a pack of dogs. Oh my God, the news was true. The dog wave has spread to our coastal city. Quickly, Yu Hao took out his phone to film this rare scene and, out of habit, posted it to his social media. After he finished, the dog wave downstairs had disappeared, returning everything to normal. He returned to his bed, turning on the Spring Festival Gala on his tablet. Although alone, he wanted to feel the festive atmosphere. Knock, knock, knock. Suddenly, a soft yet persistent knocking came from Yu Hao's door. Who's knocking at this hour? He walked to the door. Could it be the lady from upstairs? Yu Hao's family got along well with their neighbors, frequently exchanging greetings and gifts, so it wasn't surprising. Out of habit, Yu Hao checked through the peephole, but it was pitch black outside, with no one to be seen. Strange, could a mischievous kid be playing a prank? He shook his head with a wry smile and was about to turn away when the knocking resumed, yet the peephole showed nothing. Suddenly, 2 strange green lights appeared in front of him, almost scaring him half to death. Gathering his courage, he looked again and sighed in relief, realizing it was just a dog. These dogs and cats had eyes that emitted this eerie glow at night, which was quite frightening. As his vision adjusted to the dim light, Yu Hao saw the dog clearly. It was a black teddy, wearing festive red clothes, seemingly belonging to someone. In its mouth, it held what appeared to be a letter. The most peculiar thing was that this teddy was standing on its hind legs, using its front paws to knock on his door, as if really knocking. Whoa, this Tarishan clan dog has become sentient. Yu Hao opened the door. It seemed like the dog was here to deliver a letter to him. How was this dog trained? Was this letter really for him? And did it come from the dog wave? Aside from this teddy, nothing unusual seemed to occur. No suspicious characters appeared. Once the teddy released its grip, the letter fell onto his floor. Hey little guy, is this for me? Yu Hao crouched and petted the teddy's head. To his surprise, it nodded human-like. Damn, it really has become sentient. However, the teddy didn't leave. It raised a paw to point at the black envelope, urging him to take a look. Yu Hao picked up the envelope, which had 4 words written on it: Super God Academy, along with a golden symbol. Super God Academy. Crazy, I might as well be in Dementia. Who dreamt this up? He opened the envelope and found light stationery. He opened the envelope and found a sheet of paper. Dear Yu Hao, congratulations on being admitted as a first-grade student at the Super God Academy. Please report to the school with this admission notice on February 20, 2021 at Antian Peak, Jiangnan City. This admission does not affect your regular student status, and you must not disclose this to anyone. Otherwise, your enrollment will be canceled and your memory of this erased. Here you can learn anything you wish to learn. Remember anything. This is a chance to change your fate, so cherish it. Sincerely, Dean Fang Jueyu. Fang Jueyu, whoa, Dean Fang. Though uncertain if it was just a duplicate name, Yu Hao's first mental image was of him. Since when did he start a school, and such a self-absorbed name? Hey, why does this plot seem familiar, like I've seen it somewhere before? Yu Hao felt indecisive. Whatever, it must be the dean up to some elaborate tricks. I won't fall for it. He crushed the letter into a ball and tossed it in the trash can. But the night's events were indeed strange, and he planned to discuss it the next day. At some point the teddy had left, leaving Yu Hao to close the door and return to his room. It was time to count down. Unnoticed, after he turned away, the envelope in the trash can emitted a faint red glow. Holy crap, it's haunted. Yu Hao woke up in the morning and went to the bathroom, finding that the letter he had crumpled into a ball yesterday was back in its envelope and intact, sitting on the coffee table in the living room. What in the world is going on? Yu Hao even wondered if he was hallucinating. Last night, he clearly crushed that bundle of paper and tossed it into the trash can. He pulled out the letter paper, which was perfectly smooth without a wrinkle, just like when he first received it. He felt an impulse to tell someone about this. It was too uncanny. Dogs knocking on his door at night and letters that returned intact from the trash were signs that this was beyond his understanding. Especially since the letter specified that no one should know about this admission letter, he was hesitant to try anything, unsure of what consequences might occur. What kind of person is Dean Fang anyway? Yu Hao had been watching the news recently and was almost certain the national anomaly involving dogs was related to this. And since this so-called Super God Academy belonged to Fang Jueyu, the dogs must be under his command. What on earth possessed him to control these dogs to carry out such tasks? Had his research capabilities advanced to where he created devices to communicate with animals? You can learn anything you want. Yu Hao repeatedly murmured these words. Fang Jueyu seemed arrogant, but every accomplishment he achieved had been more astounding than he claimed. Would it be the same this time? If there indeed was such a school, his life could undergo a dramatic transformation. Should he go? Yu Hao found himself caught in a dilemma. I'm going. After several hours of careful consideration, Yu Hao decided to check out this so-called Super God Academy. Jiangnan City was only 200 kilometers from Coastal City, and the high-speed train that opened a few years ago made it less than a 2-hour trip. The report time on the admission notice was before the school semester started, so even if Fang Jueyu was playing a joke on him, at most, it would cost just a few hundred yuan in travel expenses. Fang Jueyu was wealthy enough not to plot for money and murder, right? Thinking of this, Yu Hao instantly opened his phone to book a ticket. However, when he checked his bank account information, he discovered an extra 1,000 yuan had been deposited, enough for multiple trips to and from Jiangnan City. The system showed the deposit arrived last night, even covering travel expenses. Yu Hao couldn't help but chuckle. The dean truly had divine skills. Yu Hao believed he had no connection with Fang Jueyu, yet Fang could find out even his address and bank information. This made him even more confident in the existence of this super god academy. Such a scenario occurred in various cities across Huaxia, and a few days later, even people on islands, deserts, and grasslands received letters delivered by dogs. They were full of curiosity. Did the dogs ride horses, camels, or dolphins to deliver the letters? But these recipients shared common traits. They were under 25 years old, and their moral character was generally quite good. Host, all 80,000 letters have been delivered to the target recipients, and over 50,000 have already booked transportation to Jiangnan City. The rest are probably still contemplating. Over 50,000 people. That's a lot better than I expected, Fang Jueyu said with satisfaction. Did anyone spread the word about this? Rest assured, host, although there were quite a few who did, the letters have been enchanted with magic. Only the intended recipients can see the content. If someone else looks, they'll only see vulgar language, you know. Although those people violated the rules of the admission notice, they didn't really do anything wrong. Encountering the unknown often brings fear and confusion, and seeking help is a normal reaction. It's just a little prank. Has the Super God Academy been fully renovated? Yes, host. According to your requirements, I divided the subjects and teachers within Super God Academy into 4 stages based on learning difficulty and the foundational skills required. Complete school rules and a promotion system have also been established to meet your needs. Good. From now on, the Super God Academy will be my place for nurturing proteges, starting with Huaxia, and then expanding to the entire Earth, even the whole universe. That's easy. There are upgraded versions of such schools available, and if you need them, you can completely purchase them. However, this will suffice for a long time, with no need for an upgrade now. Let's just wait for the school's opening day. I can hardly wait. The New Year days always flew by quickly, and February 20 arrived in no time. Young people from all over who received admission letters gathered in Jiangnan City. The hotels in Jiangnan City were puzzled because it wasn't a particularly special time, yet business was booming. Yu Hao arrived in Jiangnan City a day in advance. The admission letter only specified the date but not the time, so he came early to this Antian peak. It was said that Fang Jueyu privately bought the mountain last year. Had he really built a school here? There are quite a few people here, Yu Hao exclaimed when he arrived at the foot of Antian Peak at 6 o'clock, where at least 80 to 100 people were gathered. Are you guys? Yu Hao gestured toward the mountain. You too, the young people nodded. Why haven't you gone up? Yu Hao asked. Look, is there a path to the mountain? A young man responded. They had arrived half an hour ago and circled the mountain, finding no path to climb it. It was so strange. Damn, did the dean really fool us? How could a school be built in a place without a route up? No way. With such a big deal, what would be the point of tricking us ordinary people? Yu Hao, not quite convinced, walked forward, but the mountain indeed seemed to have no paths. Do we have to climb up? He thought. Did I miss something? Yu Hao pulled out the letter, but as he took out the paper, a golden light unexpectedly shot from the emblem, hitting his forehead, and suddenly he saw a faint light screen in front of him. He reached out a hand toward this light screen, and remarkably, his hand passed through without hindrance. As he stepped through the light screen, everything in front of him changed instantly. A winding path leading straight to the mountain top appeared. He stepped back, and Antian Peak reverted to how it looked before. This, Yu Hao was in complete shock. It was incredibly miraculous. I know how to get up. Take out your admission letters, Yu Hao shouted to the others. Everyone hesitantly pulled out their letters, and sure enough, a moment later, they all bore expressions identical to Yu Hao's. It seems some of you have found the way up the mountain, a young voice called from the mountain. Fang Jueyu appeared immaterial, even leaving a faint afterimage. Students, welcome to Super God Academy. Dean. Well, what did I just see? Am I hallucinating? Did the dean just float over here, wave skimming light steps? I think I saw that too. What kind of sorcery is this? Finally got to see the dean in person. Isn't he just so handsome? Hey there, beauty. We're all here with our admission letters. Why do I get the feeling you have ulterior motives? All right, everyone, quiet down. Fang Jueyu's voice carried a hint of inner strength. Everyone seemed to hear a compelling voice and instinctively stopped talking. I know you all have a lot of questions right now, and I'll answer them one by one shortly. Since you're here first, let me take you up the mountain. This wave already included 200 to 300 students. Today, An estimated total of over 5,000 people were expected. If Fang Jueyu were to bring everyone up at once, it might be quite difficult, so other students from the Super God Academy were also called in to help. Qin Yun and the others should be coming over soon. Led by Fang Jueyu, these few hundred students followed him up Anyan Peak. Along the way, these young people were looking around, but this seemed just like a regular mountain with nothing special. They didn't seem to see any buildings, so was there really a school here? Suddenly, a scream full of fear erupted from within the crowd. As they reached halfway up the mountain, a snow-white creature dashed out of a cave on the side. This creature had sharp fangs and looked like an oversized dog, but these young people had never seen something like this before, especially the girls, who were quite frightened, to the point where their legs started to go weak. "Wu Li, who told you to come out and scare people? Get back!" Fang Jueyu shouted. Guzi, where on earth are you? Get out here and take care of your wife." "Woof woof!" At this moment, Guzi bounced out of the cave, looking lazy and indifferent. It barked twice at Wu Li, who let out a muffled grumble and reluctantly retreated. "Guzi, are you done or not? When you're finished, come with me up the mountain." Seeing this creature come out from Wu Li's den, Fang Jueyu knew it must have been up to some mischief. Woof! Guzi was actually done long ago, but it always felt tired afterward, so it lay in the den for a while. It rubbed against Fang Juyu's leg obsequiously, then stood by him like a loyal guard. "That's more like it." "Dean, what kind of creature was that just now?" "Dean, is that your pet?" Rumor had it that wealthy people liked all sorts of strange and exotic things, and it seemed Fang Jueyu was no exception. "Oh, that was the guardian beast of the Super God Academy," Fang Jueyu explained. "Its name is Wu Li, a genetically mutated Tibetan Mastiff. If you decide to stay here, you'll soon get familiar with it. It won't harm you." "A mutated Tibetan Mastiff? Impressive." "Dean, that kind of thing isn't cheap, right? Does it cost billions? Is it expensive to keep? Would feeding it for a day cost a year's salary for us?" Hearing it was a guard animal, these young people relaxed and started chattering excitedly. But among these youngsters were many from the ancient martial families. They knew about Wu Li. Wu Li used to be the guardian mountain beast of the ancient martial association, with power comparable to the heavenly human realm. Yet now, not only had Fang Juyu's dog tamed it, but it had also become a bona fide guard dog. Their feelings were indeed conflicted. Fang Jueyu quickly led them to the summit, but there was still no building resembling a school, only a massive stone with the words Super God Academy engraved on it. "Dean, where's your school?" Some became anxious, feeling as if they were being stood up. "Don't worry, the envelope I gave you has a golden emblem. That's the Super God Academy's insignia. Only those carrying it can enter the school," Fang Jueyu said. "But there's a rule. The school's existence must remain a secret from outsiders, and you must be utterly loyal to the school, and to me." "Dean, isn't this illegal multi-level marketing?" "Hello, police. Someone's up to something suspicious here." As young people, they understood if the school was real, keeping it a secret was reasonable, but being subservient to someone. Come on, it was 2021, not the age of slavery, okay? "Dean, what do we get out of this?" Someone asked the question everyone was most concerned about. These young individuals eventually had to enter society and commit themselves almost entirely to corporations. So to them, working for someone or some organization was more or less the same. What mattered to them was what they had to give and what they would receive. Fang Jueyu remained relaxed because he knew even if many were his fans, they wouldn't agree to such a bizarre contract just based on his words. "That's a great question," Fang Jueyu replied. "Let's start with what I need from you. All I require is loyalty. When I need your strength, use everything you've learned here to assist me." "That doesn't sound unreasonable," someone commented. Even in schools, students often used what they learned to win competitions and bring glory to their institutions. "Dean, in the admission notice, you mentioned we could learn anything we wanted. Is that true?" "Of course it is," Fang Jueyu nodded. "Can you teach me the dragon subduing 18 palms?" Someone joked, thinking the so-called Super God Academy wasn't much different from regular institutions, probably just teaching advanced knowledge at most. A place where one could learn anything. How could such a place exist? "Sure," to their surprise, Fang Jueyu nodded. He extended a hand, focused his inner strength, and a dragon's roar resounded through his muscles and bones. Fang Jueyu launched a palm strike out of nowhere, causing a golden dragon-shaped energy to claw and dance through the air. "Is this special effects?" Are you an idiot? This isn't a video. Why would there be special effects? Could it be a hologram? Doesn't seem like it. There are no electronic devices around. Alright, stop guessing. None of this is fake. Fang Jueyu made several thick books appear in his hand as if out of thin air. 6 Veins Divine Sword, Muscle Tendon Changing Classic, Dragon Subduing 18 Palms, Tathagata Divine Palm, Kyuhyua Manual. Young man, I see you're a once-in-a-century martial arts genius. These are the junkiest manuals the school has. So, interested in learning. If you still don't believe it, here's what I'll do. Let me introduce a few people to you. Let's call them your senior classmates. A layer of light suddenly appeared next to the giant stone. Fang Jueyu took a step forward and vanished into thin air at the top of the mountain. 2 minutes later, Fang Jueyu returned with a dozen young people. First, let me introduce you to someone. This is Qin Yun from the combat department, Bai Yu, and Chen Menghen. Cousin. Just as the words left his mouth, a girl about 17 or 18 years old rushed out from the group of new students. Zyok, Qin Yun seemed quite surprised by this girl's arrival. Su Zyok was exactly 18 years old this year. Her father happened to be the brother of Qin Yun's mother. Qin Yun was considered the pride of the entire Qin family. It was said that throughout the ancient martial world, Qin Yun was a super genius who had advanced to innate levels in his early 20s, something that hadn't happened for hundreds of years. Almost all the ancient martial families saw Qin Yun as an ideal model. Su Zyok, as Qin Yun's cousin, was practically like a little fangirl of his. Cousin, I've never heard that you were attending this school. Wasn't it the dean who wanted it kept secret? Qin Yun laughed. He managed to get into this school by eating instant noodles upside down, but now it's okay. Since the dean has admitted you, it's your blessing and your luck. Give it 2 more years and I guarantee you can also advance to innate. Really? Su Zyok's eyes sparkled. Her talent was already quite good, but after training for over a decade, she had only reached the 3rd level of Dark Force. Advancing to innate seemed like an eternity away. Advancing to innate in 2 years was simply unimaginable. Wait a minute, could it be that Qin Yun could break the rules of the ancient martial world because? Cousin, is it because of this school? That's right. Qin Yun pointed to Bai Yu and Chen Menghen behind him and said, You must recognize Bai Yu and Chen Menghen, right? Are they Bai Yu's sister and Chen Menghen's sister? Su Zyok's pupils dilated several times. These 2 names were as famous in the ancient martial world. Although they advanced to innate a bit later than Qin Yun, they achieved it at an age even younger than his. Now everything was coming to the surface. The 3 of them knew each other and all attended this mysterious Super God Academy. If their extraordinary talents had nothing to do with this school, she wouldn't believe it even if they hit her. There were more people from ancient martial families in the group than just Su Zyok. They had all heard of these 3 geniuses from the ancient martial world. It turned out they were from this school. Are these people just actors? What's this talk of ancient martial families and ancient martial associations? I don't really get it. Oh, let me explain a bit. These 3 specialize in combat at Super God Academy. In our school, combat is divided into different categories, including Huaxia's ancient martial arts, supernatural powers, fighting energy, martial arts from the fantasy world. If you want to learn them, these can all be taught to you. Dean, it's not that we don't believe you, we just want a glimpse of something impressive. What you just showed us wasn't very convincing, someone said. All right, let me perform something for you. Whoa, step back, step back. The dean is about to show off, move away. Qin Yun quickly pulled Su Zyok and Bai Yu and the others back 10 meters away. Phew, a searing flame appeared in Fang Jueyu's hand. Even from tens of meters away, those ordinary people could feel the heat of the flame. They were convinced this wasn't some holographic projection but real fire. Go, Fang Jueyu tossed the flame into the bushes nearby, and a large tree instantly caught fire, the flames getting fiercer and thick black smoke billowing upward. Dean, everyone has a responsibility to protect the environment, Qin Yun yelled from the side. Nonsense, do I need you to teach me? Fang Jueyu thought for a moment, and the surrounding temperature dropped instantly. At that moment, a large amount of steam condensed around the burning tree, freezing the entire tree. Crack, the ice layer shattered and fell off, revealing the charred black trunk beneath. The branches had already become barren. Fang Jueyu walked to the tree, placed his palm on the trunk, and a surge of lively energy flowed into it. At that moment, the tree began shedding its charred outer layer and sprouted tender green leaves at a speed visible to the naked eye. In no time, It was more lush than before. Enough, Dean, we believe you. At this moment, no one doubted what Fang Jueyu had said earlier. Each one of them had a blank expression. The scene had shattered their worldview built over 20 years. Now there was only one question in their minds. What kind of deity was Fang Jueyu? Dean, can we learn all of this? You can, Fang Jueyu nodded with a smile, but not everyone likes fighting. If you like other things, for example, Xiaoyu, show them something. All right, brother-in-law. Gogh Junyu rubbed the ring on his finger, and with a beam of white light, a massive 20-meter-tall metal robot stood atop the mountain. That's the EXA-07. I saw it at a military exercise not long ago. Yeah, I saw it too, that's the one. The entire Antian Peak was shrouded in high-tech gadgets set up by Fang Jueyu. Gogh Junyu piloted the EXA-0, flying back and forth in the sky, leaving everyone dumbfounded. Oh, forgot to introduce him. He's Gogh Junyu. He specializes in mechanics and piloting. If you have dreams of building and piloting a Gundam, this is the school that can teach you the skills. Is there more? Is there more? The crowd's expression shifted from skepticism to intense enthusiasm. Like I said, whatever you want to learn, you can learn it. Medicine, chemistry, physics, space science, driving tanks, planes, excavators, hair and makeup, cooking, singing, dancing, rap, basketball, whatever, there are teachers here to teach you. Oh my God, what kind of divine school is this? I love it. After watching Gogh Junyu's performance, almost everyone completely believed it. They were even eager to enter the school themselves. Dean, I'm willing to enroll. I want to as well. Count me in. Who would want to miss such a life-changing opportunity? No one here was a fool. Despite some things seeming ordinary, they could almost guess that what they were taught here was far different from what any ordinary school could offer. Very good, Fang Jueyu smiled cheerfully. With hundreds more students, he was well on his way to completing half of the tasks for his second stage privileges in the coming days. If you're willing to join the school, just take the oath and bind the school emblem, and from now on, you'll be free to enter and exit the War Academy. What are you waiting for? Hurry up. Qin Yun immediately told Su Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu, this is a rare opportunity, even your good fortune. I heard the dean only selected a few 10,000 people out of the over 1 billion in all of Huaxia this time, and you're part of the first batch. You're the luckiest ones. I understand, cousin. Su Xiaoyu, along with those from the ancient martial families, had 100% admiration and trust in Qin Yun, and they immediately and eagerly bound the school emblem. With someone taking the lead, others followed suit, quickly binding their school emblems. Not a single person among the 200 to 300 present left. All right, now everyone, stick close to me. It's time to witness a miracle. His tilde. I damn. Is this the Super God Academy? Am I dreaming? Can someone pinch me? Is this magic or an illusion? If the previous show by Fang Jueyu and Gogh Junyu shattered their 20-year worldview, then now, their worldview had completely collapsed. Crossing that light screen was like opening a door to a brand new world, a world they hadn't even seen in their dreams. A city as mighty and majestic as iron, islands floating in the sky, volcanoes spewing hot flames, the surging seas, all transformed and rearranged by Xiaoyu's magnificent design into the Super God Academy. Where they stood was a precipice towering 1,000 meters high, allowing them to overlook the entire Academy's world. This is the Super God Academy, Fang Jueyu spread his arms wide. This is not magic, nor an illusion. Strictly speaking, this is science. The entire school's area could even be larger than Earth itself. If you're interested, you can take a course called Space Folding Theory in the future, which will explain how this school is here. Principal, are you an immortal or an alien? What do you think? Fang Jueyu smiled slightly. You just need to know I'm the principal of the Super God Academy, and that's enough. As they conversed, a gray figure floated over from below as if flying in the air. It was an elderly man in monk's robes with grizzled hair. Damn, who is this? Is he also our senior? Didn't they say only students under 25 are admitted? Someone exclaimed. They weren't surprised by the old man's age, but by the fact he easily ascended the 1,000-meter-high precipice. Could this be the legendary King Gogh? But even King Gogh shouldn't be like this. This was thousands of meters, not just tens. He must have flown up right. Principal, you're back. Are these the new students? The sweeping monk appeared mysteriously as ever. Yes, master, but because there are so many students, I only brought in a portion, Fang Jueyu explained. Let me introduce you to this one here. He isn't a teacher at the Super God Academy but our school's gatekeeper, the Sweeping Monk. The Sweeping Monk, like the one from Jin Yang's martial arts novels. Heavens, if even the gatekeeper is this powerful, the teachers inside must be incredible. Are there teachers like Yi Cheng and Dugu Kyubai? I want to learn swordsmanship. You should learn to be cheap instead, haha. Master, I'll take this group of students inside first. There are many more to come, so please help with the reception, Fang Jueyu said. Leave it to me, principal, that's my duty. Let's go, I'll show you around the entire school. A giant light circle suddenly appeared beneath Fang Jueyu's feet. This is the school's automatic teleportation system. As long as you have your school badge, you can go anywhere in the school. Of course, as freshmen, you don't have access to high-grade areas yet. The light beam transported them in front of an ultra-modern building. This is your dormitory. If you plan to stay at the school long-term, you can live in the dormitory. You can live alone or with others because the dormitory is made using space-folding technology, capable of housing any number of people. Since entering the school, the look of astonishment hadn't left their faces, and their jaws were practically unhinged. They felt lucky not to have missed this opportunity. As freshmen, you'll study relatively basic subjects. You can choose your major based on your interests: magic, fighting energy, martial arts, music, dance, mechanics, driving, etc. You can check specifics through the school badge. But there's one course that's mandatory for everyone, and that's potential unleashing. This course can help unlock your body's potential, modify your genes, and make your intelligence and physique vastly superior to ordinary people. Otherwise, even with all those courses, your current IQ would struggle to understand and absorb them. Fang Jueyu spoke at length, and all the students nodded mechanically. How much they absorbed was unknown. Principal, new students have arrived. A metal man in red and yellow, about the same size as an ordinary human, floated above them. Damn, Iron Man, this is Mark 52. This is Mr. Stark, a first-year teacher in the mechanics department, Fang Jueyu introduced. Hahaha, my Super God Academy is flourishing. World domination is just around the corner. Just as many were gazing at Iron Man, a bizarre, mocking laughter came from behind, deep and powerful, faintly deafening their eardrums. Damn, who is this wearing a dragon robe cape? Is he out of his mind? Advanced stage of middle school syndrome. Look at his temples. I heard that when you reach a high level in martial arts, the temples are bulging. This must be a master. Maybe he's a martial arts teacher. That's right, this is your advanced martial arts teacher, Xingba, also your first-year director. While I'm not around, Mr. Xingba will manage your year. Damn, it's Xingba from the Tianxia Association. What the? Is he the guy who says 3 parts rely on primordial energy, 7 parts on struggle? He looks so fierce, I'm a bit scared. Ha, I love training kids. If anyone misbehaves, I'll show them what true superior martial arts are. Xingba clasped his hands together, a blue energy ball forming between them, lightning flickering in the sky. Some timid girls huddled together in fear. Xingba, what the hell are you doing? Fang Jueyu shouted angrily. I brought these students to visit today, and if you scare them off, what am I supposed to do? Hearing Fang Jueyu's anger, Xingba's face turned pale, looking a bit panicked. You only became the director after beating me in the first-year teachers' competition. But I'm warning you, you can manage the students but no extreme corporal punishment, or I'll yank out your energy core and toss it into the recycling plant. Yes, Principal, I'll never do it again. Xingba, fearing he'd be scrapped, was visibly flustered. After all, he had been activated for just over a year and hadn't had enough fun. Look at Xingba. When he sees the principal, it's like seeing a lion. The principal must be more powerful than him, right? No kidding, if the principal wasn't powerful, how could he be the principal? But honestly, how do they come up with these teachers? Who cares? Let's just figure out what we want to study. I've already checked the major categories on the school badge, and now my vision is blurred. What did you see? Tell us. You might not believe it, but I saw a professor, Mr. Zhu Liang, teaching fundamental military theory, Mr. Zhao Yan teaching advanced fighting energy, Mr. Yao Chen teaching advanced alchemy technique, and Mr. Burris teaching chi utilization. Oh my, even Burris. Does that mean there's Sun Wukong, Vegeta, and Great Demon King Piccolo? Yes, they're also teachers of advanced martial arts, but they're all upper-year teachers. Oh man, just what kind of a divine school is this? Zhao Yi had already set up a comprehensive education system at the War Academy. Once all the students completed their registration, sorting them into classes would officially begin, so Fang Jueyu didn't need to worry about it anymore. All the students were curiously touring every corner of the academy. Although there were quite a few dangerous things, Fang Hua had equipped Fang Jueyu with over 10,000 robots when purchasing the school, enough to ensure their safety. Students kept arriving at the academy all day long. As the dean, Fang Jueyu had to give a formal speech, and he didn't leave the Super God Academy until late into the night. I'm exhausted. It's the first time I've realized being a dean is this tiring. Even though Fang Jueyu had reached the physical capabilities of an intermediate hidden elementer, he was still struggling. However, his efforts over this period were quite rewarding. Fang Jueyu had already completed over 50% of his second stage task, meaning just this batch alone included over 50,000 people. After some time, these 50,000 would spread all over the country and even the world. With the knowledge they gained at the Super God Academy, they would surely make a name for themselves. By then, it would all be Fang Jueyu's power. It just didn't seem too different, since the Fang family had already controlled this planet for some time. Fang Jueyu estimated it would take about another year to advance to the peak of a hidden elementer. He wasn't in a hurry to manage the remaining 50,000 people, and with this batch of students as a foundation, the number at the Super God Academy would only increase from here. Who's calling me this late? Fang Jueyu's phone suddenly rang. Oh crap, I'm done for. Fang Jueyu trembled all over. This was a call from Jiangyi. Although she remained working in Jiangnan City, he had less contact with her because of their busy work schedules and his new girlfriend. But before the new year this year, Fang Jueyu had promised Jiangyi they would have dinner together and catch up. However, he had been so busy with the Super God Academy that he'd completely forgotten about it. Jiangyi, long time no see. Fang Jueyu pretended to be calm as he picked up the call. Fang Jueyu, you've got some nerve. How dare you stand me up? Are you now a richest man general and pop star professor looking down on us old friends? Jiangyi's voice was sarcastic on the other end. No, how could I? Fang Jueyu said with a forced smile. I know you're busy, but we only meet once a year as former classmates, right? Nobody requires anything from you. It's just plain reconnecting. Is it that hard to see you? You know, I've just been really busy lately. I genuinely forgot our dinner, Fang Jueyu said, feeling a bit guilty. Skipping meetings with other classmates was one thing, but Jiangyi had grown up with him. Thinking about it, he realized this wasn't exactly how he should behave. Fang Jueyu had a sudden idea. Right, didn't we say at the last school reunion if we had the chance, I'd take everyone on a trip abroad? Now that everyone is on vacation, why not take this chance to gather? I'll cover all the costs. Stop with the empty promises, Jiangyi said. Last time you said we'd go on a graduation trip after graduating. Look, now it's been half a year since graduation, and we still need to meet you online. Jiangyi continued, your online presence is quite frequent though. Okay, stop mocking me while making this trip my apology work. Thinking about it, Fang Jueyu hadn't seen his high school friends for over a year, and some of them were really good friends. Give it a rest, we're not students anymore, we all have jobs to keep. By early January, everyone was back at work, who has the luxury to take a holiday now. That's true, Fang Jueyu said thoughtfully. It was already nearly the 15th. Even for those classmates who had become teachers, their vacations were nearly over, and the chances to have fun together later would be even rarer. How about this? Give me a moment and I'll sort it out for you. Hey, hello, what are you doing? Hey, Jiangyi heard a busy tone from the other end of the call. What the heck, he dares to hang up on me. Zhaoyi, check where my closer high school friends are working. Just a small task. Zhaoyi quickly provided Fang Jueyu with the information. Jiangyi worked at an import-export foreign enterprise. The class leader Zhang Meng was at a hospital. The desk neighbor Xiao Zhou became a programmer, and several others were in similar positions, with only one working as a civil servant at a government office. Zhaoyi, do I own any of these companies? You own 3 of them. For the ones I don't own, acquire them for me. What on earth is he doing not picking up my call? Jiangyi lay on the bed, staring resentfully at her phone. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. She happily checked the screen, but the caller wasn't Fang Jueyu, it was her direct supervisor. Jiangyi's face darkened immediately. The foreign enterprise she'd been working for had fairly good benefits, and she wasn't expected back until after the Lantern Festival, which was in 2 days. However, her manager seemed to already have tasks for her. The thought of this manager made her feel a headache. Though competent, The person was oily and sharp-tongued, and Jiang Yi had suffered much from her. But for the sake of making a living, she had to endure it as much as possible. "Manager Su, what can I do for you?" Jiang Yi asked cautiously. "Hey, Xiao Jiang, here's the thing, you don't need to come to work the day after tomorrow." "What?" Jiang Yi's face changed. "Manager Su, what do you mean by that? My performance is always in the top 3 of the department, and I've never had any absences. Why would I be fired?" Jiang Yi didn't notice the cautious and gentle tone of Manager Su, which was completely unlike her usual self. Her focus was entirely on the phrase, "don't need to come to work." "Xiao Jiang, you've misunderstood. I mean you can start work a bit later. In light of your excellent performance, the company has given you an additional week off and even promoted you. We'll be at the same level from now on." "What?" Jiang Yi was caught off guard by the sudden delight. Not only did the company give her an extended week off, they promoted her too. How could this be possible? She'd only been working for half a year. It usually took at least a year or two for promotion. "Manager Su, what's this all about?" Jiang Yi was completely at a loss. "You do know, I thought you were already aware. This. Just moments ago, someone, using some means, directly bought our company through our boss. This seems to be the new owner's decision. Isn't the new owner someone you know?" "New owner?" Jiang Yi suddenly realized something. "Sister Su, I understand now. I need to make a call, let's talk another day." Click, Jiang Yi directly hung up the phone. "Humph, just because you've got a backer now, who do you think you are?" "Fang Jueyu, what's going on here?" Jiang Yi finally got through to Fang Juyu's phone again. "My company got bought, was it you?" "Yeah, just a few billion US dollars. I offered your boss twice the market value and he sold it directly. Now I'm your boss. I call the shots, so can you go on that trip with peace of mind now?" "You're nuts." Jiang Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Did Fang Jueyu really buy the whole company just so she could have time to travel? Spending that kind of money, Jiang Yi could live extravagantly for dozens of lifetimes without working. The most important thing was, Jiang Yi's company was a publicly traded company. Even to acquire shares, it had to be done through the stock market, right? The market had already closed by now, so how did he manage to buy their company? Little did Jiang Yi know, Fang Jueyu could find all the information of the company's shareholders in just a second. Even though the stocks were still in the market, as long as the money was settled and the agreements signed, the stock market could open the next day, and they could use these share transfer agreements to acquire them. Although the company didn't technically belong to Fang Jueyu yet, in practice, it was already his private property. As for notifying people, the previous shareholders got double the value of their shares, so of course, they were willing to help Fang Jueyu arrange things for such a small matter. They just found it very strange why Fang Jueyu would be interested in their small company. If nothing went wrong, Fang Jueyu probably had numerous import-export companies under his name. How could their small business catch his attention? It wasn't until Fang Jueyu told them. He bought the company to give a classmate a break to travel abroad for a few days that the shareholders were utterly dumbfounded. Spending tens of billions of US dollars to buy a company just so one new employee could have a 7-day vacation. What kind of godlike operation was this? They had heard of Fang Jueyu spending money without blinking, and they even heard that back when Fang Jueyu acquired Tencent. It was just because he didn't like their game and wanted to create his own game. But this reason once again overturned their understanding. He's truly a prodigal son. What about Zhang Meng and the others? Jiang Yi didn't actually know how Fang Jueyu dealt with those shareholders, but knowing Fang Juyu's character, it probably wasn't very low-key. "Oh, Zhang Meng's hospital is a private hospital. I bought it too. Xiaozhou's internet company, I bought that as well. I've handled their holidays too. You guys pack up and we'll leave the day after tomorrow." "I suspect there's something wrong in your head." Jiang Yi rolled her eyes over the phone. "Fang Jueyu, you can't spend money like this even if you're rich, right? If we take a few more days off, at most it would only deduct half a month's salary, maybe a few thousand RMB. How much do you plan to spend on this?" "Not much, just under 100 billion US dollars. Fang Jueyu said as if he were talking about $100. "Under 100 billion. Jiang Yi's mouth twitched slightly. It's doubtful if they could earn 10 million in their lifetime. "It's fine. I've evaluated the assets and products of those companies. It isn't a loss to buy them, and if I fiddle with them a bit, I can soon earn back the money spent on acquiring the companies and still make a profit. Heck, with Xiao Yi, the superintelligent system, around, it's hard even to lose money. Any advanced product could make Fang Jueyu rake in a fortune." I'm in awe of you. Jiang Yu was left speechless for a moment, but getting a longer break to play and getting a promotion and a raise made her secretly delighted in her heart. So where do you want to go? I've been to Europe, been to America, even wandered through Antarctica. How about we go to Africa this time? Fang Jueyu thought for a moment and got an idea. Africa's deserts and South Africa's coasts are pretty famous. If you're brave enough, we can even venture to the Cape of Good Hope. Africa, are you crazy, Fang Jueyu? Jiang Yi said. Why, what's wrong? Africa is so tense right now, and you still want to go there for fun. Aren't you afraid of getting shot down halfway there? Huh, Fang Jueyu looked puzzled. What do you mean? Host, I told you to watch the news and keep an eye on international affairs. Africa is fighting wars lately, with many places engulfed in flames. Is that so? Fang Jueyu really hadn't heard about it, only knowing that Iran and the United States were at loggerheads. Recently, several large diamond mines and a gold mine and an oil field have been discovered on a disputed land in Africa with considerable value. Several nearby countries are fighting fiercely for ownership of these mines. Even federal intervention is struggling. Data related to this appeared in front of Fang Jueyu's eyes. Weren't the mines in Africa managed by my stepmom? They dare to seize our family's stuff. Do they have a death wish? Fang Jueyu frowned. Host, your family eating the meat still has to leave others to sip some soup, right? Although the African mines belong to your family, managing them is quite tricky. The mistress has handed over the mining and development rights of those mines to each country, and she only collects the money. Those countries are just intermediaries earning a bit of margin. Well then, what are they fighting for if they're ultimately working for us? A bit of water trickling through your family's fingers is enough for these African countries to use for several years. Just holding the mining rights in their hands, apart from the part handed over to your family, still makes a considerable income. Of course, they would fight for it. Let them fight their battles. What does it have to do with us? As long as we avoid those countries, aren't we all good? Fang Jueyu said casually. It's not possible. Those countries are located on common flight paths. To fly there, you'd have to pass through their airspace. If you're mistaken for enemy fighter jets, that's no joke. Just ask you one thing, is there a way to solve it? Fang Jueyu got tired of arguing with Xiao Yi. Of course, as I said, there's no place on Earth you can't go to, host. If you're planning on going, just let Miss Zhuang arrange it, and she'll take care of all safety matters. Then there's no problem. Fang Jueyu snapped his fingers. Jiang Yi, it's settled then. I'll send someone over to collect your documents in a bit. The day after tomorrow morning, I'll have someone pick you all up and we'll head over in my private jet. As for safety, you all don't need to worry. I'll have everything arranged. Before Jiang Yi could say anything else, Fang Jueyu directly hung up the call. Thank goodness little grandpa here is smart enough to think of a plan quickly. Otherwise, that demoness Jiang Yi would surely tear me apart. Fang Jueyu took out his phone and dialed Zhuang Ying's number. Hey, little Ying, can you help me with something? I'm planning to go to Africa with a few high school classmates the day after tomorrow. Young master, Africa isn't too peaceful lately. Oh, it's fine, I know about it, but small stuff like this shouldn't be a problem for you, right? Fang Jueyu said with a grin. Ha ha ha, young master, you're underestimating your own power, Zhuang Ying laughed. With just one command from you, the Barraquis family in Africa could dispatch hundreds of fighter jets to escort you. Since that's the case, I'll trouble you then. The ones coming along this time are my classmates, so make sure to arrange things properly. Let's not lose face. Yes, young master, I'll make arrangements according to the highest standards for you.